beings who belong to all other castes, that being data which is called hate. Just that data which was never in any other beings in the whole of our great universe, and which in its turn continually engenders in the common presence of everyone those impulses shameful for the three-brained beings, which they themselves call envy, jealousy, adultery, and many other similar impulses. And so, my boy, these terrifying processes of reciprocal destruction, and of the destruction of everything already attained by them there, proceed partly from this, that in those periods, when in their common presences the action of the cosmic law solunensius becomes evident, besides the already mentioned need for freedom in them, on the one hand, the intensity of the action of the data for engendering constantly the impulse of timidity before power possessors automatically diminishes, which data has already become inherent in their common presences. And on the other hand, the intensity of the action of that said strange being data increases, which data provokes hate in the given case in relation to the beings who belong to other castes. That is why I said that this subdivision of theirs into castes, which bring about the totality of the results of these unique, strange being data, which always increase in their functioning, and which flow, as you may have already from all that I have told you, doubtless been convinced, also from the conditions of their abnormal ordinary being existence, just serves chiefly as the second factor for the arising of these terrifying processes. These terrible processes usually arise and flow in the following sequence. It always begins with this, that several beings from one or another grouping, namely those in whom for some reason or other there were previously crystallized data stronger than in other beings, which data engender the mentioned strange impulses in relation to the beings who belong to other castes, particularly the beings who belong to the caste of the ruling class, seeing and feeling reality more than others under the influence of the action of solunensius. They begin, as is said there, to clamor, and these clamoring orators become, in relation to those around them, such as are at the present time there usually called leaders. And further, thanks on the one hand to this clamor, and on the other hand, thanks to the action of always the same cosmic law, solunensius, which action is always combined abnormally in the presences of all of them, others also begin to clamor. When these clamorers among the ordinary beings begin already excessively cacophonically to act upon what are called the effeminate nerves of the left half of several of the power-possessing beings of the given community, and these latter order those whose job it is to grease with what is called Scottish cream the navels of several particularly loud-voiced clamorers, then there begin these excesses of theirs, which, progressively increasing, reach their zenith, yet to their misfortune ultimately always lead to nothing. These processes of theirs, if they had even but a little improved the existence of beings of subsequent generations, then perhaps, from the point of view of a strict impartial observer, they might even not have appeared to be so terrifying. Yet to the misfortune of all three-brained beings of our great universe, the calamity is just in this, that as soon as the blissful action of this cosmic lawful manifestation ceases, and these terrifying processes come to an end, then there again begins the old story, and their ordinary being existence becomes more bitter than before. And parallel with this, there also deteriorates what is called their sane awareness of the sense and aim of their existence. This latter deteriorates, in my opinion, chiefly because after these processes, the leading beings of the former ruling class are usually replaced by beings who proceed from other different castes, and who before this last process did not have in the persons of their representatives, neither of the present or past generations, anything in common, either consciously or unconsciously, with that being manifestation in which is included the ability to lead the outer and now and then even the inner process of the being existence of surrounding beings, who, although similar to them, yet in the sense of reason, had not yet attained to their degree. Justice demands it to be admitted that although in the common presences of the three-brained beings there of the old ruling class, the data present in their subconsciousness for the engendering of a real being conscience also did not take part in the functioning of their what is called waking consciousness, yet at least they usually have the habit of ruling, acquired by heredity and improving automatically from generation to generation. In the presences of the beings who had newly attained to power, not only is real being conscience absent, as it was also absent in the beings of the former ruling class, but further, in them in addition, those charms begin particularly stormily to manifest and give extraordinary and terrifying results, which charms are crystallized in general in the presences of terrestrial three-brained beings, especially of recent times, in consequence of the properties of the organ kunda buffer, such as vanity, pride, self-conceit, self-love, and others, which, as they had as yet hardly ever been satisfied to a sufficient degree, are in them, in their functionings, particularly new. To these terrestrial beings who become impromptu power-possessing, and who have not any hereditary data at all in themselves, even for the automatic ability to rule, one of the sayings of our dear teacher can well be applied, which he expresses in the following words: "I never yet met that idiot who, accustomed to shuffle in a pair of old shoes, would feel comfortable in smart new ones." And really, my boy, when each time on the planet Earth the action of Solunensius ceases, and their relatively normal existence, already somehow established again, begins among your favorites, then the newly baked power-possessing beings usually cut those capers thanks to which the birth rate of what are called slugs, snails, lice, mole crickets, and many other similar parasites who destroy everything good, each time always increases more and more on that planet. As I have begun to speak about Bolshevism, then I will relate to you here on this subject in order yet once again to give you an example of one peculiarity of the being existence of your favorites, which had already become fully proper to them, about one of their naive arguments, which is not without its humor. This naivety of theirs, which may arise through an already excessively wretched logical confrontative being rumination, consists in this: that although all events there without exception in the sense of mutual relationships among themselves proceeded during the last 2 centuries exclusively already by themselves without any participation of their consciousness or intention of whomever it may be of the contemporary beings, they nevertheless always ascribe with certainty, and even with jealousy, all the results, good as well as bad, flowing from these events to one or another among them similar to themselves. And such an abnormality, which had become fixed in the totality of their spiritualized parts, resulted from the following causes. First of all, from their common presences, their grad